You are listening to Season 4 of Black Girl Missing, a true crime podcast covering stories of missing black girls under the age of 18. When black girls go missing, their cases are severely underreported in mainstream media. Join us as we dig deeper, ask questions, and provide unconsidered context. Due to the sensitive and sometimes graphic nature of these cases, we advise you to please use caution when listening.
Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of Black Girl Missing. I am Dr. Michelle Feminista Taylor Jones. I don't even know these days. We're just gonna, every episode I'll be someone different.
Wonderful. I'm Asa.
I'm Nikki.
All right. We are so happy that you're listening. We know it's been a while. But as we tell you all of us are in our 40s.
Sorry, y'all. We be tired.
We got pains. Folks have obligations. And, Asa has a new cat. So,
Woo!
she's got a cat and she's become a full-fledged cat mom.
I'm
And
a
there's
mother.
responsibilities that come with having a cat. And you all can't see this. We recently got together. We went together to the disastrous Roots Picnic situation. The first half was disastrous. The second part was decent. And Niki got Asa a pointer. Now, this doesn't mean much to you all. But she carries the point and it extends. And it's literally a finger that is pointing and it extends. And so she's holding it right now because she likes to point at people.
This is my fidget finger. Okay.
It's her fidget finger. And I'm sorry, I have to keep looking away from our screen because it's distracting as hell. So anyway, we are back. We love to give you the episodes. We love to be here. And there's actually been a lot going on. And at first we were going to do a special episode for this particular one because this actually just happened. It's actually still ongoing. But I was really thinking about I posted something online today about, there's been several cases of Black youth going missing or being killed. Just within the last week, I've heard like 4 different stories, and it just always kind of it's very heavy, for this work that we do. But at least 3 of the 4 cases, the people were missing at first, and then they were found dead, and that just kind of reminds us why we do what we do, because in all the situations, they're all kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure I believe everything that the police and that the news is saying. So, we're going to tackle one today. It is the case of Nola Dinkins, and she is a Black girl. So we are Black Girl Missing podcast. So we're going to focus on Nola Dinkins today. You ladies ready to dig in?
Yep.
All right.
I got my shovel.
All right. So, this came across my radar because there was an Amber Alert. Did you all get the Amber Alert for that?
Yes.
You got it, right?
I did.
Okay, you got
well,
it,
you
right.
sent it to me.
Okay. Yeah. So I got this Amber Alert for this car in Newark, Delaware. And it's not far from me. I actually shop over there because Delaware doesn't have sales tax, and so usually I'll go over there to go to the Costco and the Trader Joe's and get my gas and everything like that. So I was thinking to myself, "Oh, this is really close." And the Amber Alert was talking about, little, I think she said 3 years old, girl missing, and I said, well, what I know about that area, she's probably Black, right? And so I became interested in the story. So this was actually Tuesday. Okay, so we got the notification Tuesday evening, and what happened was, man, I just want to like kind of warn y'all that this story doesn't end well, and as I said, it's still ongoing, and I have some questions, but based on what we know, this is not one of those stories that's for the faint of heart. All right. So we got this Amber Alert on Tuesday, and there's this mom. Her name is Darian Randall. At first, they did not release her name, which was kind of interesting to me because they put the little girl's name out, but they didn't release the mother's name. So we knew that the girl
That's suspicious.
that was a little weird to me.
Yeah.
And so the woman, the mother, her name is Darian Randall. She's 31 years old. And she called the police and they put out an Amber Alert because she said that she was driving. She was kind of just driving along and her daughter started acting up, maybe, or like maybe was crying or something like that. And so she pulled over at a gas station and or like a store or something. You know, like they have like kind of maybe probably like a Wawa or something like that. We have tons of those in the area. And so she pulls over and she says that she pulled over to comfort her daughter, just to like kind of check she's in the back seat to see what she's, what's going on. She reports then that she was basically attacked or approached by a man wielding a gun. And she said that she was held up at gunpoint by a white man. She presumably in his 40s. He's got peach fuzz on his face, wearing a hoodie, and that he came at gunpoint and took the daughter and ran into a car that was being driven by a white woman.
Was the time of day specified?
Yeah, this was in the evening. Yes, this was so she said that it was about 7:16 p.m. So this is also what is interesting.
On Tuesday or Monday?
Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, if I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it was Tuesday. This is why this is interesting. That Amber Alert went out that night, like immediately, right? And we know from what we've talked about that it often takes a long time, or at least, they need certain, it has to meet certain criteria for them to issue an Amber Alert. So that's part of why my first thought was like, well, maybe it's a little white girl. But then I saw Dinkins and I said, that ain't no white girl, So, but that was interesting to me. So this Amber Alert went out. And they're saying they're looking for this car and it's got this, white man in it and a white woman is probably driving. All right. Now, Newark, Delaware is about 25 minutes away from where they actually live. They lived in a little town called Northeast Maryland. Okay. And it's actually in that little pocket of Maryland, like how like the you know what I'm talking about. If you look on the map, there's a little piece of corner of Maryland that nobody actually goes to. This town
like the armpit.
Yeah. This town only has like 4,000 residents, right? So it's a small town. People knew them, okay? Because they did end up talking to neighbors and stuff. So this Amber Alert goes out. It gets posted, online or whatever. I'm following. I go on Facebook and I get on Facebook and I see people saying, this is not adding up. This is not adding up. So immediately I get defensive. Because, Black girls, when they go missing, do not get the attention that they deserve. And I was just like, people are saying, the biggest thing that people were saying was, well, I would never let somebody take my child. They would have to shoot me. Okay, shut up. Yes, you would. Everybody a fighter after the fact, right? And then they were just blaming her like, oh, well, she let her child be taken and all this stuff. But a lot of people were saying this doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. So for me, I'm always suspicious of everything. But at the same time, I didn't like the tone of the conversation online. But I said, I'm going to follow it. So I posted about it, whatever. I just said, I hope the baby is safe. And I said, allegedly, a white man took it or whatever. I wasn't even going to put myself too deep in it. Next thing we know, and I want everybody to know we are recording this I'm going to timestamp this because we have to for this sake. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. This took place Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. On Wednesday, June 11th, 2025, in the morning, we get a notification because I put her name in that the Amber Alert had been rescinded. And I said, oh, hell. I said, here we go. So, okay. And they said that they called it off because the mother was lying and it's now a suspected homicide. Okay. So I said, all right, I know there's more to this story. Let me keep following along. But that's when I said to y'all, I want to cover this story because, the reason I wanted to cover this story, even before we got more information, was it made me think about what was that lady? What was her name?
Carly Russell?
Yes, Carly Russell.
Mm-hmm.
and the woman that faked her own kind of kidnapping situation and things like that. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
the conversations then, and we did an episode on Carly Russell,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking then about, like, we're gonna believe first, like, prove me wrong. Like, I would rather,
Yes.
it's so much better to believe that something
Mm-hmm.
happened than to disbelieve. Like, prove me
Right.
wrong. It's fine. Because if nothing happened, then we're fine to be like, you know what? It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. So when this came back, I said, oh, here we go. Because we already know that Black girls, Black children, Black women do not get the same attention that they deserve in nationwide searches. That Amber
Mm-hmm.
Alert went out, and I was talking about it, and so many people were just like, yeah, I haven't heard anything about this. Now, I get it. Amber Alerts sometimes are localized or what have you, but y'all know
Mm-hmm.
good and damn well, if that was a little white girl, it'd be on
Mm-hmm.
CNN.
Yes.
And so I was frustrated around that. And so we know that. So the fact that somebody is making something up, or they say this person has lied about it, even though white parents lie about this kind of shit
Mm-hmm.
all the time, nobody begins to question them and their sincerity, right? When we
Mm-hmm.
find out that a white mom lied about whatever happened to her kids, the next time we're not saying, oh, maybe she's lying on a Black man again, or, we
Mm-hmm.
don't, that doesn't
Or it's
happen.
not extrapolated to the rest of their population, their
Right.
demographic.
Right. Because they are the majority and they are not pathologized as being criminal and violent and things like that, or
Mm-hmm.
liars. But now we have this situation where this mother faked, an alert, and now it just casts doubt and it makes it harder. So the next time somebody's child is stolen and they go to do an Amber Alert, there's going to be more questions and scrutiny and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. So that was what I actually wanted to talk about. But then I got another alert.
Oh,
There's more information. Ciao. All right. Y'all ready for this nonsense? Because a,
I guess.
a nigga is involved.
As always.
There had to be a nigga involved. Because you know
God
what?
damn it.
Not all men, but always a man.
But always a man. Not all men,
Mm.
but always a man. All right. So, Darian has a boyfriend. Now, Darian is 31, and she got a boyfriend named Cedric Britton, who is 44. Now, y'all already know how I feel about these
Hold the
big
hell
age
up.
gaps.
Hmm.
Y'all know how I feel about these damn age gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say
And,
something about that.
mm-hmm,
There's always but they're both grown consenting adults. As a woman in her early 40s, there is nothing that somebody in
Ooh,
their early 30s has to offer me romantically. Nothing
at
whatsoever.
all.
We are on completely different levels. There are rare times where there is an age gap that makes sense. But a lot of
mm-hmm.
times, those are older people.
Right,
Someone
Right.
who's
right.
40 with someone who's 55, maybe.
That's
Mm-hmm.
different. Even then, I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
but
31
all
yeah,
about
like,
and
like life experience. Like
right.
having life experience.
I
31 and
just put,
44
how
just
you
it's just not it.
Mm-mm.
no, it don't work. No, I'm sorry. Because if I remember, again, I think of who I was at 31, very different from 46, and
And once again,
very different.
this is not Nola's father.
Nope.
So
Nope, this
anytime
is
you
not.
have a
Mm-hmm.
man and a child that young, there is a
Mm.
very large red flag to be seen there.
Mm-hmm. And that's what was on my mind today. And I said, all right. Okay, but let me keep going. Let me keep going. And then we could, no, we gonna do what we're gonna do. All right, so here we go. So Cedric is also from Northeast Maryland. Um, Apparently, this is what they're saying, and I'm gonna tell y'all later why I think this is an issue. So she reports that she tells them they go into their house, they go to knock on his door. They're trying to figure out, ask questions and figure out what happened to this girl because that is an active search. So of course you're gonna go to the boyfriend's house. And so he's like, she's not here. She took the daughter. She went somewhere. She's not here. They're like, do you mind if we look at the cameras? Because they got surveillance cameras in the house. I mean, most of us have a Ring cam, so they look. And they saw that she left the house with no child. Okay. So if her claim was that she was driving and took the daughter somewhere, and happened to drive 25 minutes to Newark, Delaware, and left their home, left this guy's house, because it's not clear if they lived together. But apparently she said she left his house and was driving. And okay, so where are you going? Why are you going to Newark? But that's okay. There was no kid with her. So then they said, can we come in? Can we look around? And Cedric said, sure. Waiving all his rights. Come on in. Okay. So I don't know why he did that, but again, I'll come back to that. So anyway, he lets them in. They come in and they look around, and they don't, obviously, see anything. They ask if they can look in his car. He says, yes. I'm like, you niggas don't know shit. Again, I know.
Just being
No, I'm sorry. I'm not.
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
I just need to clarify that you don't ever have to let the police in your house. You ain't got to let them get in your car.
Nothing.
You ain't got to talk to them.
Nope.
If you are not under arrest, you can say, I don't want to talk to you at all. Come back with a warrant.
Nothing.
Oh, Lord.
So, oh wait, no, so they do live together. I'm sorry, I had to go fact check real quick. They did live together. They lived together in the 300 block of Elk Nest Road Drive in Northeast Maryland. Okay. Cedric went to an HOA meeting on Tuesday night at the same time that Darian was reporting the girl missing.
Flag on the play.
Flag on the motherfucking play. Okay.
What?
So I don't know if they were trying to create alibis or what they were trying to do. They obviously thought this through, because when the police checked the car, they found a blanket that had blood on it.
Of course.
They didn't think that far. But the reason why the police wanted to check the car is because when they went in the house, they smelled a whole lot of chemicals, cleaning chemicals.
Bleach.
Here we go. Every time.
An overwhelming smell of bleach. I don't know why you niggas keep using bleach, but
Have we not watched enough?
I mean, I just feel like this is one of those cases, like, you guys have never ever seen CSI, Law and Order, SVU. You didn't watch Dexter. You don't know anything, right? I hate a dumb criminal.
Just out here on a whim.
I hate a dumb criminal. So anyway, yeah, so the police went, they noticed the cameras, checked the camera, and he let them check the cameras, by the way. You also don't have to let the police check your cameras. They need a warrant for that too.
Once again, you don't have. Oh my God!
I have thoughts, but finish up.
Okay, no, we getting there,
because I don't want to.
We getting
get
there
ahead of myself,
and I don't want y'all to think that we're laughing because this is not the serious situation. We laughing because this nigga's dumb.
Stupid.
Okay, so check the cameras, see that she leaves with no kid. Check the house, smell the overwhelming smell of bleach. They get suspicious. They ask to check the car. He agrees. They go. They find this blanket. They ask him if it's his. He said no. Somebody gave it to him a year ago. But the thing is, I don't think he saw the blood on it. They did. It was a little spatter. It was a little like something. It was brown, and they're police officers, so of course they're gonna think, maybe that's something. So they try it's blood, right? All right. So after all this happens, so he actually went to the HOA meeting that same night. Some of the neighbors, they didn't want to like really report that or whatever, but they were just like, yeah, we saw that nigga. He was here. Okay. So ultimately he kind of gives in. And I think he's starting to realize that, you know what, this ain't going to go the way we thought. All right. They get with Darian. She admits to them what happened. What happened was she beat this baby so bad that the baby passed out and went unconscious. She says that she struck her 15 to 20 times with a belt. And this is a 3-year-old, y'all. This is still a toddler, still in diapers. And I struggle with that because nobody should be hitting. I mean, you shouldn't be hitting children with a belt. I mean, I got beat with a belt when I was a kid, but we know it's not right. And
Mm-hmm.
then a baby that's like 3 years old, what, maybe 35 pounds at most, right? Like not even that much. A little baby still in diapers. She beat her, she said 15 to 20 times with this belt. The baby fell out on the ground, unconscious. She said that they went to check on her and they tried to administer CPR, but it wasn't working. Now, whether or not they know how to actually do CPR or CPR on a child, we don't know. Everybody think they know everything, but whatever. But I'm trying to figure out what CPR was gonna do because you beat her to death.
Hurt. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so then they picked her up and she wasn't moving or whatever, and then they put her in the car, and that's where the blanket with the blood comes, right? So that's why there's blood. They drove around a while in his car, and then they came back and they put her in a suitcase.
Ooh.
They put the suitcase in the basement overnight. And then Darian asked Cedric to take it somewhere. Okay. And so he takes it to a park. And they had wrapped the baby in saran wrap before putting the baby in the suitcase. So then he goes and takes her to the park and then later sends a picture of the park where he drops off the suitcase. Y'all, this is all happening yesterday.
This is
this is crazy. This is all happening between Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. Or it might have been Monday, but it just happened. Like it's not clear. I'm not sure that they said when they did this, but this is all just happening within the last few days. Okay. So they talk with Cedric. He gave him a map of where he believes he tells them, this is where it gets confusing. He tells them that she disposed of the child. She says that he took the suitcase to the park. So again, this is an ongoing investigation, y'all. We're right in the middle of it.
I would assume that ring camera footage would show
maybe,
something.
but sometimes ring will
we don't
skip
know.
if you don't have certain settings. Like I have minimal settings on mine, like because I don't want it triggered every time somebody crosses my front thing. So like you have to be in front of it, I think, for at least 5 seconds or whatever, however many seconds for it to really pick up everything. So it's a possibility that it didn't catch anything. But that's where things were a little bit confusing. And I was reading different reports. WBAL TV, thank you, ABC6. Those are the sources for what I'm getting this. But there's a little bit of conflicting information. But whatever happened, the baby was taken in the suitcases to the park. And so Cedric gives the police. And so I think he's cooperating with the police because he's not trying to get in no damn trouble. This ain't his child. Okay.
Right.
And for all intents and purposes, he knows that she's the one that beat the baby. So he's like, I don't know, I ain't going down for this kind of thing, right? But you had something to do with it. So anyway, they find the baby. And she was emaciated, which suggests that there was some other types of abuse going on as well. Okay. So they don't say how long the two of them were together. But you know where my mind went. Okay. Unfortunately, there are situations where women who have children, small children especially, get involved with men who make it so that the child is inconvenient. The child is a problem. And the women will prioritize the men because they don't want to be by themselves or they need financial help or whatever it is. They have low self-esteem and are validated by the men being in their lives, but y'all can all look at him, and I'm just trying to figure out who the hell he would possibly be validating, but that's
Because
okay. I don't understand the
and
ways of the people in this region, so I just keep to my business, myself.
I,
But there's a good chance that, in my opinion, and again, allegedly, that there was abuse happening, severe abuse and neglect happening before this. Okay, you beat a 3-year-old 15 to 20 times with a belt. It's not a stretch for me to think you may have also been starving her or whatever. Okay.
right.
So they found the small baby's body wrapped in saran wrap in the suitcase. And so here's what's been happening since then. So they're both arrested. Darian is being held on $1 million cash bail. Okay. And she's being she's waiting on extradition to Cecil County. And so he was held on $75,000 bail because they have him on accessory or whatever, but basically they're separating the two of them. But what's really interesting to me as I watch some of the reporting in the news and things like that, they're leading with him.
Oh.
So one report I watched was like, he's been arrested and his girlfriend has been arrested. And I'm like, well, wait a minute now. Because everything that we hear from what she says and things like that, she did this. She beat the girl to death. So why are they kind of making it seem like he was the lead here? Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing in the court documents that suggests that he was a mastermind or anything like that. Right? So she's been charged, first and second degree murder, first degree child abuse resulting in the death of a minor under 13, and some other charges. He was charged as accessory to first and second degree murder and other charges. They wanted him to be held without bond, but the news reports say that the judge released him on a $75,000 bond and home detention. So he's got an ankle bracelet on him. Now, $1 million to $75,000 is a pretty big. Unless they meant that's what he paid to get out. Nah, that nigga ain't got no $75,000. So that's where we are in this moment, y'all. We are recording. It is June 12th, and this is the latest that we have. That basically, they. It doesn't seem right to me. Like, I just gotta say. What do you think?
The cover story, as a Black woman, that cover story that she said that she got accosted by a white man and a white woman, as a Black woman, why? Because we know the racial tensions in the United States and how you knew you killed that baby, and that police aren't very happy with having to go after white suspects. You knew somebody was going to turn the leaf over eventually. They probably didn't expect it to be this quickly, but you went and told the police that your baby got taken by a white couple, had an Amber Alert issued, and you thought that the full force of the police wasn't going to come down on you. You thought you were outsmarting the cops.
And here's what's interesting.
With cameras in your home.
Right, with all
blood on a blanket in the car, and text messages of where that man dumped the body.
Listen, here's the thing though. Okay. So an earlier report was saying that he dumped the body in an empty lot behind his house. A different report says that she dumped the body in Delaware at in this park in Cecil County. So she's actually still being held in Delaware. They picked her up. And so I'm really confused about him being at the HOA meeting and her being in Delaware making this report. But then they say that they live together, but then she's not back home that night, and they arrest her and they're keeping her in Delaware. And he was like, yeah, she ain't here. But she had been there, at least when you helped her dispose of this body. Where was she when he was at the HOA meeting? I know that's not something that's like a big deal, but like, was she staying with a friend? Like this is overnight. So the Amber Alert comes out Tuesday evening. He's at the HOA meeting on Tuesday evening. Most of them start around like 6-7 o'clock in the evening, right?
Mhm.
Amber, she reports this at 7:16. So apparently they whatever happened, they split ways. The baby was dumped by then. Like, I believe that if we're thinking about the timeline, the baby had already been dumped by then. So she's going to report this to make it seem like a kidnapping or whatever. He's going back on his business. He's going to give himself an alibi. The next morning, they come to ask him questions because obviously they're looking for the baby. They're looking for clues or whatever they can. They come to him, and off the rip, he's like, you can have whatever you want.
Okay,
So that's why I'm like,
I'm in my Lifetime movie bag
okay,
right
come
now.
on. All right.
What if this is a battered man? Because
Oh.
she clearly has the potential to abuse a child. I can see him being a battered man, a victim of abuse by her, and going along with her plan. But when the cops get wind, he's not going to put up much of a fight.
That's interesting. I could see that
And I'm
because
going
I'm
off of
in my true crime bag too.
and then we're looking at the photos.
I know
He's
the
not
listeners are like, Asa,
necessarily,
no.
and he's not necessarily like someone you would feel is the man you want.
Mm-hmm.
He's with this 31-year-old young thing.
You know what? The more you talk, the more I'm like,
So
here's my theory.
It is just a theory.
Then we'll get Niki's
I'm trying to make sense of what's happening. I'm not saying this is what's happening, what happened. I'm just trying to make sense of what pieces of this puzzle we have.
Right. So here's what I think may have happened. I may think that this older man got him a young tenderoni. Now, May-December relationships are huge in the Philly, Delaware, this little pocket of things. Like, it's a very blue collar kind of situation. A lot of younger women are looking for an old man to take care of them. Mm-hmm. So you see a lot of the huge age gaps, right? And then with all the shit that we've been seeing online and stuff and how the niggas been acting, I want a young tenderoni. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see that. But this ain't his child, right? So what I see is that he got with this woman that has this small child and they're together or whatever situation is. He may find the child to be a problem and makes her feel like the baby is maybe getting in the way of them moving forward in their relationship. Right. Mm-hmm. And maybe she has resentment towards her. Maybe she takes that anger out on the baby. Maybe that's what led her to be abusive. And then eventually one day she goes too far. And he was probably like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why did you didn't have to kill her? And I think that he kind of let her lead on this because he's just he might have been in shock himself, or he was like, I'm not trying to get in trouble for your ass or whatever, but still trying to like wrap it up. Or maybe he loves her. I don't really know. But he got involved with helping dispose of the body. Now, there are conflicting reports on who was the person that dumped her and where she was dumped, because they did find a body behind his house. And at the earlier reportings, they said it was a child that was consistent with being a child that would have matched it or whatever. But then they say they found the body in this park in Cecil County. So I don't understand how, because they said that she left the house and didn't have the baby with her. So where did she take her? And then why would you go back to Newark to report this if that's what you did? If you drove over there to dump the baby, why would you then go back there to be like, oh, somebody took my kid? Unless you were hoping that they would find the dead body and associate it with the white man. That's the only thing I could think. And I'm like, are they smart enough to have planned this out? Possibly, so I like to put that there. But I think when they came, I think, honestly, he was just like, I ain't taking the fall for this shit. I'm not. Yeah. And so I think he knew that if they looked in the cameras, they would see things. The fact that he let them look at the cameras tells me that he is like, not me. And
Yeah.
and then the fact that he let them come in the house with no warrant, I think he was kind of like, you can look at what you want. And then the car and everything, I just think that he's kind of like, I didn't do this. And so I actually do not think that he dumped the body. I don't think he did any of that. I think she did all of it, honestly, or the majority of it. Like, I think he was involved with the CPR and all that stuff or whatever, trying. But I think that she took the lead on most of this. And
Yeah.
he maybe helped try to clean up or whatever. But I don't think he dumped her. I think that she, they put the baby in the suitcase. She took the suitcase, went back to Delaware, dumped the baby, and then put the call in. That's what I think happened.
That sounds
I don't think that he had anything to do. Now there was a child found in his, like, in the park in his backyard. That's
Hold
a
up.
whole other
So there's
story.
two.
There's two.
Two.
Got it. Yeah. They found a baby in the lot behind. So that's
The
yeah.
hell?
But basically, yeah. So I think that they had the baby there overnight, Monday night. They killed the baby on Monday. Baby was in a suitcase overnight. She took the suitcase, went to Delaware, and dumped the body, and then called the police and said it was a kidnapping. And he went on about his business and to give himself an alibi. Like, I think he was really trying not to be involved with this at all.
Yeah.
But that, and also I think he turned on her because $75,000 bond, that's nothing. Yeah, he's getting charged, but he's probably working with them. Like, yo,
Yeah.
please, I'll give you anything you want because I ain't going down for this. That's how I feel. I don't know, Nikki, what you think?
I agree. Yeah, I see that.
Let me tell you what I think. I think that somewhere along the way, that girl completely lost her way because she is not from Delaware. She is from Indiana. She's from a tiny town called Marion, Indiana. She comes from a fairly large, seemingly close-knit family. And she had started working in like optometry and like that kind of thing and like working in like cataract centers and stuff like that. So, had something going for herself. I can't find anything on Cedric Britton. Nothing at all. Literally nothing. That makes me nervous because how come I can't find nothing on you? I don't know where you come from, where you're going, where your people at. I don't know nothing. And for you to be 44 years old and I can't find anything. And as soon as she moved to Delaware, it seemed like she just dropped off the grid, which makes me wonder, is he one of those men who wants to isolate you so that he can do whatever and so that he can control the narrative and say whatever he wants to say? And the thing about the like Philly, Delaware, like that area is, I mean, everywhere is very patriarchal, but the
Extremely over here.
communities, right, the communities in that area are very male led, very like the woman is like, oh, I'm the neck and he's the head, like that, very strange kind of dynamic that people can sometimes have when it's heteronormative and patriarchal. So while I hear you, Asa, I do, but I want to give her the benefit of the doubt on this. I'm not excusing her behavior at all.
Oh yeah, nah.
But I can't help but wonder, her being impressionable, her only being 3 years postpartum, we don't know where her baby daddy at. Because if that's not his kid, well, where's the person who got you pregnant? Also, we don't know how long Nola's been 3. When is her birthday? Which is why, counting the months always matters too, because, she could be 28 months.
I'm sorry. I just found another report saying that this all took place on June 6th. But this is also a source that is saying that it was reported on Wednesday, and it wasn't. We didn't get the Amber Alert yesterday. It came on Tuesday. So it's hard. Again, that's one of the things we often run into is like people are not necessarily reporting facts, and it's like, what do you believe? So they're saying basically that this happened on Monday June 6th. And I'm sorry, it doesn't line up like that to me. But like, why would you wait a week?
Yeah.
Why would you wait? Like, that means for a week nobody saw you with your baby. This is a small town. They have an HOA. They live somewhere where there's an HOA. The neighbors know who they are. So you telling me when they talk to the neighbors, nobody said, "Yeah, I haven't seen the girl in a week." I don't think that's.
Unless they don't usually see that girl.
Also, wonder if they kind of hid her a bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're abusing and neglecting children, you do that too.
Yep.
Oh hell.
And the fact that she was emaciated, that abuse was not new.
That's what. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't just become emaciated over, the course of a couple of days or whatever. That's something that takes some time.
And even if Cedric, his name's Cedric, that man's name?
Yeah.
Even if he was not involved in the murder, he was at least a party to the ongoing neglect of that child. Because they can't be living in the same household and you see this child emaciated and not do nothing.
Now this one okay, sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, because there was one that was just updated. So,
Lord.
as we're recording this, y'all, like, there's new articles coming out about this. Is how, like I said, this is breaking news. Like, this is kind of, we haven't really done anything like this before. I think the one we came closest to was that girl in Philly that went to the bus stop and completely disappeared, and we were just like, what is happening? But now this is another one that is saying that the body was found in Maryland. Okay. But again, she's being held in Delaware. So I'm like, why is she being held in Delaware if they lived in Maryland and they found the body in Maryland? Did they arrest her in Delaware? So again, if she reported this child missing on Tuesday and the Amber Alert went out on Tuesday, where was she staying Tuesday night? Why wasn't she back at home in Maryland? And so that's a missing piece for me. Who was she staying with? Why was she in Delaware overnight? And they arrested her and are holding her in Delaware. But they're saying but they're waiting for identification of the remains of the saran wrap child because it might not even be her. They haven't identified this body that they found. So y'all, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back with this at some point. I may just do a quick hit or something or post an update on social media. But this is actually an ongoing story. And so it's not clear that they actually found this little girl. They found a child.
They have two small bodies to identify.
Yes, they found a child. Right. Because
in the back lot, and then they found another.
Yes, because she took the suitcase, but they're saying that he may have done it because they found a child in the backyard behind his house. Listen,
like it's his property, or like
it's a lot behind his house. If it's a vacant lot that leads up to where his house is, and they're saying that he's accused of dumping the body there. But that's not what either one of them, well, that's not what they're saying. She's saying that he sent a picture of where he put the body. He's saying that she took, he's saying that she took the body and dumped it. So that's why I said, that's why my flags are going off, because I think she was the mastermind of everything. And I think he's like, I'm not going down for this. And when they were reporting it, they're reporting it as couple killed this baby. Like, some of the headlines are saying Maryland couple kills 3-year-old toddler. And I'm like, yo, that's not what the different sources are saying.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But also, I want us to, like, remember and I guess just acknowledge that y'all moved a dead body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were moving a dead body and taking pictures of it, and like, what the hell is the matter with you?
They said she left the suitcase on the stairs, like, leading to the basement overnight.
Like, you managed to go to sleep.
You managed to go to
Yeah,
sleep.
there's something the circuits aren't connecting up there
They're
for
not.
y'all to be able to do that.
She's got this empty look in her eyes too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
This makes me feel so violent. Like I just
yeah, yeah. Like, and I want to know where's her father, because if he's still alive or whatever, like, I wonder if he's looking at this like she done killed my baby or whatever the situation is. Like, Niki, I think
Mm-hmm.
that you had a point. That isolation point could also be real. And so, yeah, finally, somebody, okay, ABC 11 is saying that they gave differing accounts of who moved the body. I knew I wasn't crazy.
Okay, okay.
um,
you
so,
know
and
why I'm
this is the
fat?
thing. They
You know
said
why I'm fat?
they said they located the suitcase in the vacant Cecil County lot. Where is Cecil County? Let's look that up. Y'all,
That's Maryland.
that's Maryland. Okay, yes.
That's Maryland.
They both said that each other did it, but they were able to find the suitcase in Cecil County. Okay.
Okay.
I am fat because if I wasn't, I would be a vigilante. Like I would be out here
Like,
like, nigga, what you
right,
say?
right, right. Oh, got
Oh
it.
Lord.
Found the daddy.
Breaking
Found breaking news. Breaking news, y'all. Yeah.
Where
This
the
is
daddy
Lord
totally
at?
have mercy.
this is totally unlike what we've done. The father is in Indiana. They
What I
had a
say?
custody battle. He
Oh.
tried to stop her from leaving Indiana with his baby this
Ooh.
year, y'all.
It
Oh
said
God.
as soon as she got to Delaware, she just like disappeared. Or not Delaware, but Maryland. She
Mm.
disappeared.
Yo. Oh man.
Oh.
So
And
now I'm
his
wondering, where did she meet that old ass man?
Word.
right. She's taken
Where did you
her
get him
baby.
from?
Right. Did they meet
Did they
online?
say how long they've been together?
Well,
It
we
couldn't have been
know
that damn long.
well, we know maybe at least a year, because they did find a children's blanket and he said it was a gift for him that he got last year, but last year could have been December. I don't know. But
He could be lying.
the most serious charge that he got is accessory after the fact of murder. So he's not being held as part of any of the actual killing. It's more
Mm-hmm.
that he helped her, kind of
Move the
clean up
body.
and
Yeah.
things like that. And I think, like I said, she said he took it, the baby. He said, no, she did. So they may be more convinced that this really was majority her,
Her.
and that
Mm-hmm.
he, helped out some. Because I'm like, 75,000 is nothing. They must have whatever
But
evidence they have.
also,
Yeah.
they could be telling him, if you tell us everything that you know about her, oh, we're gonna give you a loan. We'll give you a low
Exactly.
bond.
And
We'll give.
Mm-hmm.
I
They
think
do
that's what
that.
he's
They
going
play with
for.
people like that.
Yep, I think
Yep.
that's what he's going for. But yes, so now we know that the father didn't want her to leave the state with the baby, and they were involved in a custody battle, which tells me also, it's meant to me, that may confirm that she was abusive. And
Yep,
that
that's
he
what I
may
was
have
Okay,
had
thinking.
yeah.
concerns about the safety of his daughter in her
Mm-hmm.
hands. I wish I knew his name. Hold on. Indiana Child Family Court and Darien. Y'all, we doing this for real right now. That's just like, it's though we were live. See, and we were talking about doing more live shows. And there's a part of me that feels like maybe we should be doing
Oh,
that
y'all don't
more
want to see
often.
my investigation process. It's just 50 million tabs open at once.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
Okay, here go another one. Hold on. Because I'm just like, there's holes. And it's like, again, we're getting things that updated even to the last like hour. It's just like they're finding out more and more information, which is interesting to me that they're actually putting this much attention on this. Because again, when it comes to little black babies, they don't actually care.
I think the attention is because of the first story.
So yeah, so she was
Because
from Marion, Indiana, and then the father lived in Indianapolis. And in January, she filed a notice of relocation. I'm getting this from WTHR. She filed a notice of relocation saying she was planning to move to Northeast Maryland. So she knew this man before she left, because they end up having, they live in a house together. Okay. But they had a mediated agreement. She agreed to withdraw her notice of relocation and give Nola's father extra parenting time this summer. the custody exchanges were supposed to happen in Indiana. God, why didn't you just get a baby to the daddy? Just get a baby to the daddy and move on with your shit. See, y'all think that we are just too light sometimes, and we're not. We gonna hold mothers accountable. We don't tolerate that nonsense over here. Our whole thing is about these girls, So we see some stuff like this. We're not cool with this. I want to make sure people understand. Like we don't make excuses for this. Now, when we talk about the stuff about abuse and possibilities of those kinds of things, yes, those things factor in, and we have had cases where we suspected the mother, or we knew the mother was being abused by the man that she was with, and that led to problems for the children. So we're going to talk about that. But listen to this is crazy. She knew this man before she left Indianapolis, and I suspect they may have met online. They might have met on Poly Black and Dating. Let me shut up.
Girl, if you don't, I need
Now,
you to
why
stop.
would you say that?
Now, why would I say that? What is wrong with me? Oh, gosh.
You ain't got no sense.
I don't have no sense. Yeah, so basically, yeah. So the Amber Alert was from Tuesday. That report that said that she killed the baby on June 6th. The only other thing I could think of is that if it was June 6th and it had been a week, then maybe the body was decomposing and that's why it was emaciated. I don't know, because I'm looking at the picture of the baby. Her hair is done. She looks, so maybe it was. I don't know. But yeah, she used to live in Indiana and was because you can't take the child out. A lot of states you can't take your child, you can't move your child out of state without the permission of the other parent, right? And so since they were in a custody battle, and the fact that they were in a custody battle, this man wanted to be a dad. And so I guess they negotiated that he would have her for the summers. And now that man don't have nothing. Like,
This is foolish.
I feel awful for him.
Truly.
So, yeah. So this is, like I said, this is an ongoing story, y'all. And we are reporting it because, like I said, initially I wanted to talk about like the harms of people making up stories and how that affects future cases. Again, they don't really believe us, but this actually turned into something even more gruesome that I kind of wasn't, expecting. And yeah. So, what y'all think?
That was a lot.
I think
I don't think he's
we are
totally
going to have
innocent,
a lot.
though.
You think what?
I don't think he's totally innocent, though. I'm sorry.
Hell
Oh,
no.
No.
I don't. I'm very
because
curious about that man
he
because
could have called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
you're an
That
old ass
he saw
man with
that
this
baby
young
beaten.
ass girl and this little
Mhm.
bitty child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not to mention how common it is that we see these young mothers basically sacrifice their children to a man who wants them.
Y'all,
Mm-hmm.
hold on, pause. I just made a connection. This man got
What?
money. Cedric got money. They live in a gated community,
Oh.
and he drives a BMW.
But that's why it's so hard for me to figure out who he is. I'm
Oh.
like, you live it's on the shore. It's the
Yeah.
northeastern shore of Maryland.
He has a BMW, and that's the car they drove the baby around. And they live in a place with an HOA, with nosy neighbors. I got an HOA. I ain't saying I'm balling, but I live in a little nice neighborhood.
But if you have an HOA,
Yeah. You're not poor. You're not
Yeah.
it's
living
not
in
a
low income
rundown,
housing.
dilapidated, but
Mm-hmm.
also
Yeah, he's
anywhere on the
driving a
eastern
Beamer.
shore in Maryland,
Yeah,
there's money.
he's driving a Beamer. So that just makes me even more curious about this, y'all.
Yeah.
And they said he was released. Oh no, because no. He paid 10%. He paid $75,000 cash bond. So his bail was probably $750,000. He paid that $75,000
Okay.
cash bond, which means he either put up his house, which means his house is, decent, or he paid cash. And he got sentenced to home detention. And that usually happens, especially if there's a murder involved and they allow him to go home. He's somebody. He's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody. And the fact that we can't really find much about him outside this damn story,
That it bothers me.
Right.
he's
That's why I
somebody.
said that.
Yeah. He's somebody. Now, I don't know if he's a drug dealer. Or I ain't trying to say, but he don't have a digital
I feel
footprint.
like
Maryland has a
something
lot of wealthy black
governmental.
people.
Yeah, they do. It does. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if she's coming from Indianapolis. She's coming from Indiana in that area, going to be with her baller.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, y'all, thank you for listening today. We're so happy that you joined us. We know y'all were waiting for a new episode. I know y'all get tired of us, but listen, we are going to bring you. It's been 4 seasons. Come on, y'all. Like, just rock with us. We love y'all. And we're doing the best that we can this summer. We're gonna drop maybe a few more episodes for this season, and then we'll be taking a break and gearing up for season 5. We also told y'all that we are looking to do more investigative series, kind of looking at systems and connections with things. So we're gonna be taking some time to do some of that stuff. All right, I really appreciate you all for listening, and I don't know what else do I say. Goodbye.
Toodles.
Holla.
Black Girl Missing Podcast is researched, written, and produced by 3 concerned black women who want justice for missing black girls. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform so we can keep bringing you the stories of black girls that need to be told. Visit us at blackgirlmissingpod.com for all things Black Girl Missing. Today's episode was written by Feminista Jones and produced by Niki Irene.